back to school.
I don't have the choice because I have to go to school. I can't miss school and I have the flu and yeah, it's terrible.
Francis Weatherly of Halton Public Health says the worst thing an ill person can do is go out in public. It all comes back to the importance of being vaccinated before the season hits full swing.
Vaccination itself is one of the most biggest public health prevention that is available, has saved many lives. Measles is a very contagious virus, and it can cause quite a bit of complications.
6 cases of measles were recently diagnosed in Toronto. Doctors found that 4 of the 6 individuals weren't fully vaccinated with the standard 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. It's not just kids at risk of getting sick. 4 of the 6 cases of measles in Toronto were adults. Health Canada notes that susceptible individuals born after 1970 should receive 2 doses of MMR. That category includes college students. The peak of the flu season may have passed, but it's never too late for Sheridan students to go in for a flu or measles shot at room B129 at Trafalgar campus. Reporting for Eye on Sheridan, I'm Chris Stobigan.
Doctors in Montreal say a patient thought to have Ebola is clear of the virus. The gender and identity of the patient have not been released. This marks the 7th suspected Quebec Ebola case since the virus began spreading in February of last year. It's also confirmed that 2 recent refugees from the African nation of Guinea have been cleared of Ebola. The pair remains in isolation at Victoria Hospital in London, Ontario as a precautionary measure. They were both screened for the deadly virus before departing their country and again upon arriving in Canada.
An environmental investigation is underway following a dusting of black soot across the north end of Hamilton. It's also affecting neighborhoods in Burlington. The Ministry of Environment believes the soot is coming from the Dofasco steel plant. Environment Hamilton says the incident highlights the need for upgrades to facilities. Dofasco has experienced emissions issues in the past. They were fined $390,000 in 2014 after pleading guilty to 6 environmental charges. Officials say in Hamilton are struggling to keep up with an increase of rat complaints in the city. The Director of Public Health Protection believes an increase in high-rise construction is forcing the rats out of their habitats. Health officials are naming the rat infestation amongst the emerging priorities and service demands in a 2015 budget proposal to Council.
A man is dead after suffering severe burns in an apartment fire near Don Mills in Eglinton area. Firefighters responded to a call from the apartment complex around 8 p.m. last night. The victim was refinishing the floor of a unit when the chemical he was using exploded and caused a fire. He was rushed to hospital with severe burns to his body, but succumbed to his injuries this morning.
The Canadian Border Service Agency seized 5 kilograms of suspected cocaine at Toronto Pearson International Airport. It was inside a backpack on a flight from the Caribbean, February 8th. The agency says officers found 4 bricks containing a substance that tested positive for the drug. The packages were turned over to Peel Regional Police. The investigation is ongoing. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency has issued 2 recalls on products sold in Ontario stores. One is for Elite Salads brand Whitefish because of potential bacteria that causes botulism. The second recall is due to possible salmonella contamination, affecting 2 cheese products from Mountain Oak Cheese Limited. There have been no reported illnesses associated with either recall.
Health Canada has issued its first medical marijuana recall of the year after finding flaws with quality control. Peace Naturals recalled 2 batches of product after an inspection showed the levels of THC in their marijuana were too high. Originally listed at 9.07%, a retest put the levels at 13.07%. Neither Health Canada nor Peace Naturals have received complaints from customers. Michael Wagner and his 3-year-old daughter Fook are resting following a successful liver transplant to save the young girl's life. Fook and her twin sister Bin suffer from a genetic disorder called Alagille that affects their liver, heart, and other vital organs. Knowing the surgery was necessary to save one of the children, doctors were forced to pick which child to give the liver to after the family was unable to decide for themselves. The family is still hoping that Bin receives a transplant.
Here at Sheridan, it's starting to become that time of year where students are stressed out about assignments and projects. But our reporter Michael Apiakubi has found a great way for Sheridan students to cope. Michael?
Hey Sheridan, you may think that right now you have a lot of homework. What? Why you keep... Hey Sheridan, right now's the time of year
Working out is one of the most essential ways of relieving stress.
A study from Camp H suggests that students feel more pressured nowadays than they ever did before.
Research that shows that regular exercise increases dopamine in the brain, so it actually causes your brain to release hormones that make you feel better. And so being connected with other people, whether it's at the gym or whether it's through a club or whether it's through other social activities, is very, very important.
There are many different ways of coping with stress. WebMD suggests getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night is one of them. But if you don't get a chance to sleep, exercising 20 to 30 minutes a day can help you with your stress. Try CrossFit exercises, or play on a basketball team, or try to walk on the treadmill.
It kind of clears your mind a little bit, right? Because not only are you losing out, like you're kind of putting aside your schoolwork, but you're also putting aside all that other stuff that's kind of going on. So it's just you, and it helps you focus on you, and it kind of cleans you out a bit, like it's a cleanser.
Regular exercise can provide self-confidence, but most importantly, it provides a great way to keep your mind at ease. So Sheridan students, to relax your mind and get away from all these books, try meditation or yoga. Or maybe you could go outside for a walk. Maybe not just yet. But you can definitely come to your campus's gym, which you are paying for, and pump some iron. For Ion Sheridan, I'm Michael Piakubi.
Today marks the 25-year anniversary of Nelson Mandela's release from prison. After being in jail for 27 years, Mandela was released from Victor Verster prison, and soon after delivered his iconic speech on freedom and democracy. Jacob Zuma, the president of South Africa, released a statement saying the 11th of February marks a decisive advance towards the achievement of his country's goals to create a united, non-racial, non-sexist, and democratic society. Time for a quick break. When we come back, a conviction in the Deathly Coast Concordia cruise ship case.
And the trial of the man accused of killing the American sniper begins in Texas today. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. U.S. President Barack Obama is seeking formal approval from Congress for the use of military force against ISIS. The request was sent to lawmakers this morning. If approved, it would sanction a 6-month military mission against the extremist group. Obama also stated that any military advance must be authorized by U.S. Congress.
I deployed an entire operation at significant risk to rescue not only her, but the other individuals that had been held.
The military request was sparked by the death of Kayla Mueller, an American humanitarian working in Syria. She was captured by ISIS in 2013. The militant group released a statement saying that Mueller died in a Jordanian airstrike last week.
The United States, Britain, and France have closed their embassies in Yemen over security concerns. It is reported that thousands of people took to the streets today to protest against the government in power. The Houthi movement overran the capital Sana'a in September and formally took power last week. Rebels seized more than 30 U.S. embassy vehicles in Sana'a after the ambassador and diplomats left the country. The employees at all three embassies say their mission is to get rid of documents and weapons prior to evacuation.
Francesco Schettino, the captain of the shipwreck Costa Concordia, has been convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 16 years in prison. The verdict has brought an end to the trial that began back in July 2013. The shipwreck happened in January 2013 and killed 32 people.
As many as 300 migrants are missing after their boats sank in the Mediterranean Sea today. The UN Refugee Agency says 9 migrants were saved after 4 days at sea, while the other 203 were swallowed by the waves. It's believed that the ship originated in Libya. The sinking comes only 2 days after the Italian Coast Guard found 29 migrants dead on a ship bound for Italy. 3 American Muslim students have been shot to death at a residential complex of the University of North Carolina. Chapel Hill police responded to a report of a shooting around 5:15 p.m. on Tuesday and found 3 people that were pronounced dead at the scene. Craig Stephen Hicks, 46, was arrested and charged with killing the 3 Muslim students. Hicks made a brief court appearance today saying he understood the charges. In a statement, Chapel Hill police said that the preliminary investigation indicates that the crime was motivated by an ongoing neighbor dispute over parking.
In Texas, the American Sniper murder trial begins today as former U.S. Marine Eddie Ray Ruth appears in court. He's accused of killing fellow Marine Chris Kyle and his friend Chad Littlefield. Allegedly, Kyle and Littlefield met with the accused to help him deal with PTSD. Ruth then shot and killed both of them at a shooting range near Fort Worth. He later admitted the murder to his sisters.
He said that he killed 2 guys. They went out to a shooting range, and he's all crazy. He's psychotic.
Ruth's lawyers are expected to build an insanity defense for the accused, as he already admitted his guilt in a police interview. Kyle is the main character of the biopic American Sniper and is credited with the most kills of any U.S. military sniper in history. Taiwan's aviation regulators suspended 10 of TransAsia's 49 pilots for failing tests on handling an aircraft during engine failure. This follows a fatal airline crash in Taipei last week. Safety investigators speculate that the pilot of the twin propeller plane might have reacted to a stalled engine alarm by shutting down the wrong engine. European leaders are meeting in Ukraine today in hopes of stopping the 10-month-long conflict over a ceasefire. Russian President Vladimir Putin, French President François Hollande, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko gather in Minsk to discuss the terms. The meeting is expected to last several hours in hopes of ending the fighting that has left nearly 5,000 civilians dead.
Greek foreign minister will meet with the Russian foreign minister in Moscow today. Meanwhile, Eurozone finance ministers meet in Brussels for another round of negotiations to discuss a new deal to erase Greece's debt. Greek defense minister today said his country will resort to seek funding from another source, likely the United States or Russia.
TransCanada has written to the U.S. State Department to dispute the latest criticism of the stalled Keystone XL pipeline. The company takes issue with a recent report which said the drop in oil prices will increase its contribution to greenhouse gases and climate change. U.S. Congress will send a bill approving the Keystone XL pipeline to the White House today. However, President Obama has said he will veto the proposal. Walmart is set to open 29 new superstore locations nationwide, unveiling a $340 million expansion plan for 2015. These new stores, in addition to 11 new locations, opened across Canada in January. The expansion project is expected to create close to 5,000 jobs in construction stores and distribution center positions. Walmart is also expected to purchase some of Target's vacated locations across the country.
And Target has been granted a compromise by an Ontario judge in a dispute over soon-to-be vacant properties. The revised landlord agreement gives Target until the end of June to finish selling its store leases. The retailer has set May 15th as the final date for the sales process, while the date for the deal closure is June 30th. Target is in the middle of liquidating product and closing 133 stores nationwide. Eve Adams has confirmed she will be running for Liberal nomination in Eglinton Lawrence riding of Toronto. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau says she will have to convince the local Liberals that she is the best person for the job. And after that, she will have to run against Federal Finance Minister Joe Oliver, who won the longtime Liberal riding for the Conservatives back in 2011.
NBC anchor Brian Williams has been placed on a 6-month suspension without pay. His leave comes after weeks of controversy surrounding his false claims of being aboard a helicopter in Iraq that he said it was brought down by enemy fire. Aside from announcing an internal investigation, NBC has declined to comment. Now over to Faisa with a quick entertainment news update. Faisa?
Thanks, Gabby. Coming up in entertainment, Jon Stewart is leaving The Daily Show after 16 years, and social media is buzzing about who will replace him. We'll have more on that later. Now over to Pierce for an early sports update.
Thanks, Fiza. Coming up in sports, the Leafs continued their free fall last night, and a blockbuster trade happened in the NHL. Now over to Elizabeth with the weather.
Thank you. As you can see, it's cloudy and snowing, which should end later this afternoon. We will also have snow later on. We also have snow tomorrow morning, and I'll have more for you later in the show. Back to the newsroom.
After the break, Pierce will have your NHL updates and more.
And Faisa will have an update on Bobby Christina's condition. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Leafs were in action last night.
Pierce, did the Leafs continue their big winning streak?
The Leafs were in action last night against the Rangers, looking to extend their winning streak to 2. New York held a 2-0 lead midway through the first until Morgan Rielly gave Toronto some life with a snapshot past Cam Talbot. It was 3-1 for the Rangers when Stefan Robidon netted his first goal of the season, becoming the oldest Leaf defenseman since Tim Horton to find the back of the net. The Buds upped their game in the third with another tally from Rielly, his third in 2 games, getting the Leafs to within 1. Daniel Winnick's 5th goal of the season gave the ACC faithful some hope. And then the Leafs fell back into form and surrendered a late goal to Matt Zuccarello, making the final 5-4, New York. The Winnipeg Jets have pulled the ejector seat on Evander Kane and shipped him off to Buffalo along with defenseman Zach Bogosian in exchange for Tyler Myers, Drew Stafford, and some prospects. The trade ends a tension-filled season with Kane often being at odds with coaches and teammates over personal conduct. #pushups. 2 hockey teams in Edmonton are looking to outlast each other in a 10-day marathon game. All part of an effort to defeat cancer. Teams Hope and Cure are attempting to set a world record with the aim of raising $2 million for the Cross Cancer Institute. It's 5 days into the game with just over 2,000 goals scored. Tottenham Hotspur made the journey north to Anfield yesterday to take on Liverpool in one of 4 Barclays Premier League games. It was a seesaw battle with Spurs drawing level twice through Harry Kane. The game looked destined for a draw until the 86th minute. Super sub Super Mario Balotelli poked in his 3rd goal of the season to secure the points, leaving the Reds just 3 adrift of Arsenal for 4th place and leaving the Gooners wondering why always him. Now we head over to Aerosports Trampoline Park for our new bi-weekly segment, How to Beat the Winter Blahs. Dodgeball is a simple game. 10 players, 4 balls, and the 5 Ds. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
You can get hit in the head, and you can get bloody noses, you can sprain your ankles, hurt your wrists. I've seen some people get knocked out almost.
They do say that if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. But dodgeball is not just dangerous, it's fun too. As if dodgeball wasn't already fun enough, they've now added a trampoline to the mix. Ultimate dodgeball is what you get when you add the two together. No longer just an obscure sport on ESPN 8, The Ocho. It's now available here in Oakville at Aerosports Trampoline Park. They opened to the public in November, and Ultimate followed shortly after.
Tonight was actually our first victory. Felt fantastic. Other than that, we haven't done so well, but still a lot of fun.
From what we saw, everyone was having a really good time and getting in a really great workout as well.
That feeling you get when you go to hit somebody, you miss, somebody throws it, and you catch it. It feels so good.
There are only 8 weeks left in the current season, but the great response this session means that they're definitely going to be starting a new season in May. Now, they do play Ultimate Dodgeball here at Aerosports in Oakville every Monday night, so if you want to get involved, reach them at the email address below. My name is Pierce Lang for Sheridan News, signing off. That's all I have for sports. Now over to Fiza with entertainment news.
Thank you, Pierce. A lawyer for Bobby Brown issued a statement saying there is no truth to the story that Bobby Christina will be taken off life support. Brown has been on a ventilator since January 31st when she was found face down in a bathtub. The family says they remain optimistic about her recovery and the 21-year-old is getting better. Today marks the 3rd year anniversary of her mother, Whitney Houston's death. Jon Stewart is leaving The Daily Show after nearly 2 decades. The comedian announced his departure during a taping of last night's episode and got a little choked up when he thanked his co-workers.
I love them and respect them so much.
It's uncertain how much longer he'll stick around, but Stewart says this will be his last year, and the show deserves more than a slightly restless host. There's already been much speculation about a possible replacement, including comedians like Chris Rock and Tina Fey. Black History Month is here and Sheridan students pay tribute. Demaine Reed has more on that.
Sheridan's Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences took part in the Black History Month event at Oakville Town Hall. Sheridan students were showcasing their poster presentation exhibit in collaboration with the Canadian Caribbean Association of Halton, who set up the event.
Need to be known, and all voices need to be.
Catherine Dothan Adams, the treasurer of the association, shows her enthusiasm about having Sheridan at the town hall.
Interesting night. It's the first time we had so many people because we have Sheridan College involved in the presentation of their Black History Project.
I spoke with Sean McNabney, Associate Dean for the Faculties of Humanities and Social Sciences, about how the collaboration with the CCAH came to be.
Well, the CCAH is a fantastic community organization. They have a number of pillars that underlie their philosophy, one of which is education, one of which is community. And we felt that that was a real great fit for the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, and we knew that this would be an opportunity for our students to do some work and get that work out into the public venue via a partnership with the CCAH.
Sheridan is having another collaboration with the CCAH right here at the Trafalgar campus on February 17th. They will be showcasing a 1996 documentary film, A Road Taken, and if you're a Black History Month enthusiast, you definitely want to be there. My name is Demaine Reed, reporting for on Sheridan.
While fans are debating whether or not there's enough sex in the film, the wildly controversial movie adaptation of the erotic 50 Shades of Grey is 3 days away from hitting the big screens, and the reviews are already plummeting. It was only given a 3.6 out of 10 on IMDb, and Rotten Tomatoes gave it 37% on the tomato meter. Vanity Fair and Entertainment Weekly, however, have both given it a decent review. They say the movie is written better than the book, considering the trilogy was originally a Twilight fan fiction. Meanwhile, YouTube users are having a heyday with the 50 Shades of Grey trailer, making it less sexually charged and more creepy and comedic.
How long you work for the escort service?
I don't know. This hilarious parody features the one and only Steve Buscemi as the infamous Christian Grey. YouTube channel Booyah Pictures released the remake earlier this week, and it already has over 1 million views. Move over, Jamie Dornan, because the internet agrees. Mr. Buscemi, we'll see you now. That's all I have for entertainment. Now back over to Ryan and Gabby.
Let's go to. After the break, we'll head outside to Elizabeth with your full 5-day forecast.
We'll be back soon. Stay tuned.
It was going well.
Welcome back to Eye on Sheridan.
Now let's head outside with Elizabeth for your 5-day forecast. Elizabeth?
Thank you, Ryan. As I mentioned before, it's cloudy, it's snowing, and it's very, very cold. Currently, we are standing at -7. This snow should end later this evening with about 2 to 4 centimeters on the ground. Temperatures will rise to -2, but it will feel like a -12. Let's take a look at this week's 5-day forecast. Tomorrow will be cloudy with 40% chance of flurries in the morning and early afternoon, a high of 15. Friday will be a mix of sun and cloud with a high of -10 and a chilly low of -22. Saturday will be cloudy with a 60% chance of flurries, a high of -7 and a low of -13. Sunday will also be a mix of cloud, a high of 13 and a low of -24. And Monday, another mixture of sun and cloud with a high of -9 and a low of -22. While we suffered a colder February, Boston, here in the GTA, Boston had to call the National Guard to help with the removal of snow, which is currently at 40.8 centimeters on the ground. And they will get more snow this Valentine's weekend. Another report by the Climate Council of Australia is blaming climate change for Australia's heat wave in 2012 and 2013. According to the report, hot days increased dramatically and doubled in the past 50 years. That's all I have for you today. Back to the newsroom.
And that's all we have time for today on Eye on Sheridan. I'm Ryan Rossell.
And I'm Gabby Mendoza. Make sure to tune in next week.